Wow, this is garbage. You actually like this?
Keep reading. Come on.
All right.
Hello spirits, I definitely did not think I'd ever make a video like this, but here we are. A few videos ago, I did a ranking of the Omniverse redesigns. Well, most. I left out a few because I wanted to do 10 each only. But I also said if you guys wanted, I could talk about the reboot since I had some thoughts on all that stuff. And yeah, you guys definitely wanted more. Seriously though, thank you all for the support and opinions on that video. Hearing some of your perspectives made the way I structured this video. I now also do think higher of the Omniverse Ultimate Spider Monkey. Ultimate Alien just had a gorilla with basic spider legs. So...
Look, I didn't know you were allowed to keep monkeys at home.
Hey, what? Like it? Also, this will be the closest thing to a face reveal you will ever get for a while. But I wanted to spice it up, so in alien order is me, Savrage, Galaxus, Tadbrain, Quadset, Dinestone, Slyret, Slimeball, Frostmoth, Lava Light, and Backload. Also, how can I switch between all these aliens? Alien jumping. That is my answer. But back on the topic, speaking of structure, I'm taking a different approach unlike last time. As you guys wanted, I decided to do this video but with a twist. For Omniverse, I'd already watched the show and didn't really remember everything from it, just pieces of what the show did. The more important part was, I don't actually remember where the aliens I was reviewing randomly popped up. So they were scattered through 8 seasons, and I ended up resorting to using Tennyson Forever since they had just about every appearance. Which, meant I didn't get to hear the Omniverse voices in English, but I decided instead of just saying my thoughts on the redesigns and call it a day, I'd watch the show. I'd sit down, watch 30 hours of perceived hell and see if it was worth my time.
You haven't washed your underwear in 2 weeks?
4 seasons. 1 movie and 3 specials. You didn't actually watch all the episodes. You're right, I missed out a few. But don't tell me I didn't watch everything. Also to note, I have watched the show before. Somehow. And the only thing about Ben 10 2016 I have watched was just season 1. I know this because I watched this stuff on Foxtel at my nanny's house. It's the only explanation I have. Yep, I'm remembering it now. It was probably a marathon because I vividly remember a lot of these clips when watching back. Oh god, and the scenes that made me remember the ads. Or the end clip that just got boring as hell. Anyways, without further ado, Ben 10 2016, an unfinished mess. Alright, you guys wanted to know my thoughts on the Reboot aliens, right? I'll talk about the show afterwards, but to go through them quickly so it's not a 1-hour video. In order are the aliens from worst to best. Who undercooked this? Because I know Gordon Ramsay would have cooked up something better. This guy was changed because I think he had trouble standing up as a toy. They didn't even make Stinkfly resemble what he was. A stinky looking bug. They imply he stinks, but look at him. He doesn't actually look it. He's not supposed to be bright and appealing with 2 holes on his chest. Oh yeah, because 2 arms and feet. So interesting, then tendrils and a more viney look. Oops, wrong alien. What? I wonder why I got confused there. Don't get me started on the face. Okay, seriously, who's on the stove? What sucks about this design is he wasn't changed to be interesting. He was changed because it was easy to make toys out of him. Yeah, that's fair, I guess. But come on, you can't keep the flytrap aesthetic. You can't make a new plant alien. Don't even think about rebooting it with the Shock Rock upgrade. His design is alright. Like, it's good, but it's not fitting for Wildvine.
Oh!
I want water hazard. We have water hazard at home. This really is just a watered down water hazard. I don't know why they didn't go with a different color scheme. Like, why did you have to make the water guy red? Not a blue or a teal, a watercolor. At least when Heat Blast and Swampfire were designed like they were the same, one had a drastically different approach to his design and colours. Also, don't give me shit saying this isn't a redesign. The team wanted to make a character with water-based abilities, but instead they shared similarities with an Orishan. With an Orishan. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Here we go!
People were saying Jet Ray was better here, but like, is he? Sure, the designs kept the same, but the entire colour scheme is so unsaturated to the point it looks like a filter was slapped onto him. The orange would have clashed better if the dark velvet and black was still intact. I don't actually mind the thick arms, honestly it's an improvement to give him an extra punch, but I can't see this working out with any other style because of the smaller proportions. The thing about Raph's redesign is that it's not bad, but it's not fitting for Ben. Besides the beard, I actually like his design and the change of powers, but it looks like it was meant for someone like Ben 10,000. Like, why the white streaks in the hair? It makes him look older. The beard as well. Hey, you wanna know what's funny? I read that before finding out the form originated from Animo. Why they only removed the sideburns confuses me though.
Was a cat from Brooklyn by the name of Romeo.
The thing about Upgrade is that they fixed my issue with Omniverse. There are two colours and yet they're balanced out because it's not just adding marks to the torso. And as much as I love the colour scheme, why is he purple? Upgrade is based on the Galvanic Mechamorphs who look like this.
Sponsors said, can you please kick this guy on the left?
I'd get if they wanted to explore more colours that affect their personality, but they don't, so he's just purple with his just no green inside. Also, he's completely gone after season 1.
What's up with that one? It should be upgrade.
I cannot speak ill of this design, it's just alien forces. But what holds it back is that it's just... God, he's so stiff and his gimmick is...
No bones.
Seriously, in a suction wormhole thing, he moves like this. I'm not freeze framing or slowing down shit, by the way. This is actually the scene. Now, his design through the years is different. Classic is the better one, and I wish Omniverse kept elements of the original, but this design is just those without the big feet and hands. I actually prefer the Accelerate design for this show, simply because it just ends up looking like a younger Accelerate in comparison. The original to me makes him look a little bit older than he is, and it fits for Omniverse because he is older. Though his mask being saved for the other upgrades kinda stinks. Though I do like the spikes on his back, but something about his grey shading is just so fucking ugly.
Consider this your psychic wake-up call! Routine, lift those puppies off the ground.
I like the new spikes to his design since I forgot that was an ability Alien Force Humongosaur used. Though I do like the focus on a new Sonic Tail ability. It honestly gives him more uniqueness than just being the smaller way big. But Jesus Christ, he just comes off as looking short as fuck. And it's because of the art style, and he's not the only one. It's something about the head shape as well. I don't hate Diamond Head, but I can't bring myself to like it either. His crystals are most likely kept the same except for his shirt pattern, which is yellow, which to me doesn't really look that good. Green and purple blend well, but yellow doesn't really fit that well to me. Cannonbolt is the design I'm actually happy with that they reverted back to. I like the new black along his feet and paws as well, but besides that, it's actually a solid redesign. This is a case of hitting it out of the fucking park with a redesign. I like the contrasting red and purple to his rocks, giving him a very lava lamp look. Overall, he's the best coloured redesign. I also love his shock rock upgrade. Like, the blue looks really good with fire characters, regardless of what show it's from or what film. But I cannot get over how fucking shit his head shape looks when water is splashed onto him. Both shows did this infinitely better. And number 1 is way big. It's just a smaller version of Omniverse, so moving on. I honestly thought I'd hate these designs a lot more. Some lost the point, some improved what the last shows did, and besides Goop, they're trying to say it's a reboot. And before you say, oh, but what about the redesigns like Ripjaw's? You mean from the Extinction Special? Don't make me laugh. That's Gwen 10. And I don't want to hear any apologies because this is not Gwen. I do not give a fuck. Omniverse handled the What If Gwen much better, especially exploring different Omnitrix colors. What is that that's the same Gwen? Maybe? Hold on, did they just rip off the best Omniverse 2-parter? If you're asking what are my thoughts on all the other aliens like Alien X, Slapback, well, you'll have to watch the video. Good luck finding it! Now, I am very on the fence about Ben 10 2016 because, yeah, it does do a lot of good, but at the same time, I've got an hour of things at the things it does badly. Also, I will try to use as little comparisons as I can since these have two different feels, but I'll still reference Ben 10 Legacy? Is that what it'll be called now? I think the best place to start is with the Tennysons. Starting off with, can I mention their designs? I have no idea how to describe it, but they're so off-putting. You get used to it after a while, but it's just like the Powerpuff Reboot where subtle things can make it worse, except they didn't hire pedophiles to write episodes. The only thing I actually like from any of their designs is Max's cargo vest. But moving past that, let's talk about the most memorable episode in Ben 10, where he gets his Omnitrix and slowly but surely controls his new powers. Wait, so as it turns out, the show basically skips a good chunk of what fucking started Ben 10. Also, don't give me that shit that they do a time travel episode where he gets taken, or they go back to the spot for the Omnikicks shit. You know, in an episode that did this better, then there were Ben. That had a Ben who had no idea of what the Omnitrix was, watches Ben Prime receives an Omnitrix, and starts his journey throughout the original show.
Forest fire.
Strange as it may seem, this is supposed to happen.
But in the reboot, they already know about all the old aliens you grew up on. And all the other ones are either new or ripped from Alien Force. Gwen and Max also know his powers as well, so they give him insight, which would be great if it came later. The only time they actually explain the Omnitrix getting to Earth is in the film, to hide on the most unintelligible planet out there. I'm so glad they removed the one hook that showed Asmus' appreciation for who the Omnitrix was supposed to go to, Max himself. Which is not just a one universe thing and even stretches out to Ben 23. At the very least, I can appreciate the Ara family, though it is a little weird when Gwen will go from being on the high ground to being on the same level as Ben most of the time. It might just be her interest, but in season 1 she disagrees he should jump in Niagara Falls, but encourages wrestling against adults. Half the time the show will actually demonstrate they work well as Team Tennyson by isolating things each can do. And other times, they forget they're a team altogether. the specials. Overall, they don't really take their characters very far since this show is very episodic. Believe me, something I'll get to. Ben, depending on the season, is either cocky and arrogant, understanding, a team member, you get the point. And yes, he's focused to be more like a kid, and yeah, they accomplish that. Depending on the context of the episode is how each character will act. And for some reason, it'll always switch. Because suddenly in season 3 of the show, they just have Gwen take up a more cat personality and characteristics. And you must be thinking, oh, like her Lucky Girl persona. No, not even close. In the episode Wrath of Khan, they go to what is essentially a censored furry con, because they were too cowardly to draw anything but cat paws, ears, and a tail. And Gwen is weirdly flexible as a cat. And then later on, she puts on the outfit again to start Kypera. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
I have never trained a kitten before, but I accept the challenge.
Right, then. Well, I guess Phil gives her a cat suit and fully starts acting like a cat. What the fuck happened?
Stealthy like a cat. Meow 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 meow.
Oh, right, I see why. Silly me. It's because Lucky Girl is a cat. Or if that's how they designed her, why is it so fucking basic? I don't think Lucky Girl was an original IP in the original show. I may be wrong, don't quote me to that. So Gwen looking up to a character like Ben does with Sumo Slammers makes sense. But come on, you couldn't have made the mask look like Cat Ears, the character that appeared once. So why is her mask so basic? Thankfully that cat shit was dropped in season 4 so I wouldn't have to keep cringing. And Grandpa Max? He's boring. I'm not kidding, that's his entire character for the entire fucking runtime. I forgot to mention that these secrets happen only in a few episodes. I'm more angry that they didn't commit to the idea, I'll explain. Grandpa Max is the most boring character in the show for one reason I will not understand. And it's because they lock away his past as much as possible. His alien past. Oh, but don't worry, they make sure to sneak in hints that he knows more than he should. Like in the specials where he hasn't told them that he's okay. Oh boy. But you'd think maybe they'd spice him up differently than usual, right? No, he's just an old man, that's his entire character. He likes the rust bucket, the sights, the copter, and never mentions that he was a fucking plumber. That he had game as a young adult, and not even using alien technology, or that the null void exists. Oh, maybe they'll talk about his history as a jet pilot, nope. Okay, maybe they show how Phil and him met. Nope. He says he was a DJ called DJ G-Pa in the 80s. That was like 30 years ago to this universe, because that makes fucking sense.
And if you're lucky, maybe DJ G-Pa will make an appearance.
Grandpa? No.
DJ G-Pa!
Not only does removing his past make him boring, but it actively tries to dance around Max's past. And this isn't even, oh, but the show ruined the continuity. This is the show's own continuity, and I respect that. But there's a difference between having events occur differently and removing something entirely. Later I'll talk about it, but to give the show credit, making it so Vilgax was Asma's work assistant so he understood the Omnitrix makes sense. Comes late, but it makes sense. But the reasons for the Omnitrix getting to Earth don't give it any sort of angle to it. Other than just more dumb luck on top of dumb luck. Vilgax wasn't in the picture, so he couldn't shoot the ship down. Xylene doesn't exist, so she can't give it to Max or get shot down. Max and Vilgax don't even canonically know each other, and if they do, they make no reference to it. And the smartest being, giving an Omnitrix to the most, and I quote, one of the most unintelligent planets. It's kind of stupid, don't you think?
Was by sending it to one of the most unintelligent planets I could find. Luckily, I was keeping track of a group of subspecies who could keep it safe.
I don't mean give it to another Galvan either. I mean, Azimuth could have sent it to any alien race. Maybe one that even dabbles in cultural diversity and technology usage. Like, I don't know, maybe a Gravitac? They're apparently wise and patient things. Ben isn't. Oh my god, this guy is fucking stupid. Yeah, no wonder Kevin managed to build a bootleg watch. But in the Legacy continuity, the reason it was sent to Earth was because Max was a galaxy-renowned plumber. And later in Omniverse, I think Max was one of the first, or was the first person to meet aliens. And again, he's a plumber in every universe. Even in the one where the Omnitrix doesn't even exist. In the reboot, and to emphasize again, he becomes nothing more than a secretive grandpa hiding things.
Security firewall.
Well, that looks important.
Grandpa, careful!
Oh, did I break it?
No! You got through!
Of course not. But it sure brings back some memories, right, Max?
What's he talking about, Grandpa?
Oh, nothing.
There it is! Whoa, someone is talking. Or something.
A biker gang of mutant groundhogs. Sort of reminds me of my 20s.
Wait, Grandpa, were you in a biker gang?
All right. Remember how I told you the rust bucket can do things other cars can't?
They're after the army, after your watch, man!
Hello. Yes, I know where he's headed. This isn't looking good. Tracking Forever Knight's movements over the past few months.
Who is we?
Best to just focus on the task at hand, Gwen.
Signals across time discovered 3 instances where alien life has attempted to contact Earth.
Tell me.
And there is a difference between a fun reference and having things occur the way they do directly from his unrevealed past. Gwen wouldn't have accessed the jet in this scene. This alien antenna wouldn't have gravitated Season 3's villain towards it. the weirdly technological upgrades in an RV being able to do these things that aren't possible. Even in the scene, plumbers are directly mentioned, it doesn't actually serve any purpose than how Alien Force Ben got there, which could have just as easily been explained from Paradox, who travels both space and time. And while Reboot Max can hide secrets, which is what original Max did in Season 1, but eventually Max revealed his past and had episodes based entirely on his plumbing training in the original Alien Force and Omniverse. And they never really explain why he can't say anything either, and that sucks. It would have been interesting to know what this timeline of events happened, how it related to Phil, and if he'd become the person he ended up being in the original shows. I honestly could make a video just detailing everything there is about his character assassination from just removing one thing. And that's all I can think of when it comes to their characters.
Can't you see that in Bale? What do you mean you made it?
I sent it to a very specific human. My coordinates are never wrong.
God, they are not making it easy for me to find ways to defend this show. So as it turns out, I missed a single 2-second clip of Asmus saying he sent it to a specific human, obviously meaning Max. Meaning Asmus does know Max. Meaning everything I said for the last 5 minutes was false, except again, it's masked in fucking mystery. Because oh my god, this opens up another can of worms that just does not work. Now, writers, you can have a mystery, plural, in your show. Every show has things that keep the viewers guessing and wanting more.
No family? An address? A grandma where I can dump you?
Except, if you're going to give small clues to one reveal that is spread through 4 seasons to film and 3 specials, and you don't even give an answer to why he does this or says this, then what is the point? And this isn't even treated as a gag or a joke, at least not often. If the grandpa does this stuff or acts differently and kids pick up on it, they're gonna want to know why. They want to know why the boring grandpa does these things. I don't care if Legacy revealed it. You're the reboot. Answer your own questions that you yourself set up. This isn't something like Gravity Falls with like a dozen solved and unsolved mysteries. Like Grunkle Stan having a brother, which was a big enough reveal its creator fucked with his own audience. And he's important because this new character was shown to change the dynamics of characters like Stan and this hidden side of him, and explained why Stan was acting so weird and secretive through most of the episodes.
You're never gonna see it, kid. Never gonna see it.
They don't just tease these things and never do anything about it, because it leaves so many holes in the plot. But why not have the reveal in this film that Grandpa Max is a plumber? Fuck Vilgax not knowing, this is a planet conqueror. His grandson is gone, and yet he never tries to call in the plumbers or even fight back? Give the glitch suit to the plumber trained character, not the kid I'm going to talk about later. I mean, yeah, what are you going to do against that? But come on, don't leave all the action to the original and his copy wearing a copy. Okay, I get if you can't reveal a secret maybe during season 1. Maybe 2 is pushing it, but 5 seasons and a film, which never changes him, is not on. However, when it comes to the film, Ben tries to receive character development, and it does not feel fucking earned. For starters, they introduce the character Asmith, who's in the Null Void, because he deserves to be there for building what's basically a weapon. Okay then. Anyways, Asmith takes the Omnitrix, but gives Ben time to prove that he's worthy of his tool. By the end, Ben pulls up on the Omnitrix, something I don't think that's ever been done, which lets Ben access aliens based on a Samsung password, which is actually really cool. However, my compliments end there. Do you want to know why? It's a concept introduced 42 minutes into the fucking film and is used twice. And what's even better is that they don't actually introduce new aliens. No. They use it to make references to the other shows. A new function for the fucking Omnitrix. Something 3 different shows have never done, which is further access to the alien DNA we were deprived of, and it's used twice for existing aliens. with the existent designs. Okay, fine. At least we get the designs we have seen in years. That's cool. But how do they help? Well, Goop is shown once and saves this dude. He doesn't appear again. And Waybig is used to defeat Alien V, the basic equivalent to Eon, who is defeated with a single energy beam.
You do well to stay down.
So why couldn't we have gotten an Alien X fight? You know, actually give the film some stakes. Not a 1-minute fight of punching and kicking. Because they spend a near hour setting up the threat that Vilgax is on Earth going for the anti-tricks. And Ben is far, far away and needs to get back, only to deliver us that. Even shows that had to rush things made a better finale that people cheer for. What I can respect with the first 20 minutes is they show that Ben is alone in space and his family is quite possibly dead, with Ben holding out hope his planet can still be saved, before figuring out that the meteor was Vilgax. That's a good plot point. However, when it came to the final fight, yeah, it's so obvious the writers don't know what Alien X is. Because I don't care if Alien V is half of Alien X, he's still powerful as fuck. Atomic X is a good show of this because, let's use this as a teaching moment. Atomic X can use wormholes, teleport, shoot laser beams, laser balls, and has immense strength. Might I add that only 2 of those abilities are Atomix's, laser beams and balls. Even if half of his strength and abilities are negated, he's still a powerful threat when met with a being with infinite power. And this isn't the only time I'll talk about the Alien X power level. So, moving on from that garbage of a film, I think what really ruined my enjoyment was because what I noticed with the classic things they add. Because something the first season that feels really weird is that it's treated as if old fans are watching. I'm guessing some are, but when your starter episode is about the Bug Brothers using maggots to destroy Las Vegas, it's pretty bland in comparison. Instead of a scene where Ben gets his Omnitrix, it's just... hold on. A 3-second clip in every fucking intro. I'm so glad we get to be introduced to each alien, and so does Ben as he struggles to use them for the first time. Yeah, you only get this experience only with Overflow, Shockrock, Slapback, Rav, Humongosaur, Goop, Jetray, and Waybig. Ouch, that's it. Wow, 8 aliens, guys! So glad that more than half of them are from the original shows instead of completely new ones. Side note, out of all the new ones, Slapback is easily my favourite because he feels like a classic alien. Yeah, he has duplication powers like Ditto and Echo, but I like that he gets smaller but stronger, which isn't always great in some fights. I also like Shockrock's abilities and mossy look to him and shoot. However, don't worry, I know why they didn't opt out for more. New aliens to possibly spice up the roster? Oh wait, they spent most of the budget on the Omni-Hands, which I think a better name for is Omni-Rock. Then finally Kix and Nought, possibly the worst case of making it just for toys. The Omni-Kix and Omni-Noughts are absolute shit. What I will appreciate with the designs for the Omni-Kix is making the entire alien just as a robot. They at least show who's who, even what happens is too lazy, but out of Kix and Nought is so much fucking worse. It's not even a question. I don't know why the creator of that idea said, what if we did Omni-Kix again, but worse? Some of these already lost what was so great about the design. Like Raph is the worst one out of all of them. Tell me that thing is Raph. All of them are just stronger, durable, and bend times out faster. Great, what's even the point? Humongosaur, when enough energy is coming his way, he can shoot out a massive laser. Forearms has rocket hands. Accelerate can run underground, and has a big jet booster. Raph has more claws. Heat Blast can do more with his fire. Cannonbolt is more powerful the more he rolls. Slapback is more durable? Okay. Oh, here! Fucking finally something unique with Diamond Head, who can leave his body as a decoy. Finally! But the Omni-Noughts are worse because all they have is the fucking Omnitrix on the face. Robot armor and wings. Why? Yes, I get there for space, but you can at least make them interesting. They're just barely different, but thankfully, though, this ugly shit is saved for the film, and that's it. You know what? While I'm on the topic of gimmicks, in the Season 2 finale, the show introduced the upgrade, Ben hybrid, called Glitch. Cool. At the end, he turned into a buggy. Alright then. Well, at least he's a new addition to the family. Why does it take 11 episodes for Buggy Glitch to appear? No, seriously, it's as if Glitch wasn't supposed to be in the show despite being introduced in the Season 2 finale. He's not mentioned, he's not seen, or anything. And even if he was not in this show, he's fucking useless. The first debut episode he has, and it's just used as Kevin's toy to play with until he's evil because of their powers. What was the point of introducing what was obviously a toy car for kids, only to do shit with him? Hold on. They didn't make toys? But you make a toy for the Ben buggy suit with a random scooter? Okay. What was even the point of this gimmick? Oh, well, he's just in the hell. He's also in the rust bucket? Is he at least deactivated or something?
Right in the side there, if you could, please.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Oh, it's from the Tennysons. Having a great time in Hawaii. Wish you were here.
What the fuck? What's the fucking point of Glitch if his character barely appears and he is only for a specific set of situation? And that's fine even if he isn't always there. But there was no point to him. His only purpose was to buy Ben time in the fucking film. And then there's the other problems with him. We have an episode where Kevin's alien DNA links with the buggy, except if Glitch is a part of the Omnitrix and was a fusion of Ben, and he established that only the Omnitrix will listen to Ben's DNA, wouldn't Glitch be DNA locked? But really, what makes Glitch suck is that he's just so useless when he's upside down. Again, a fucking buggy that can match alien DNA, but when the wheels come off or he's on his back, he can't get back up, right? He does rideshare too. Lagrange does as well. God, I'm glad that's not a one-time fucking gag. He appears 10 times after Season 2, and he's deaf in the film. In truth, he's a good new concept with an interesting design and colour scheme, but he's so poorly implemented. And he doesn't need to be in every episode, but when you have a sentient piece of technology originating from a glitch in the Omnitrix, you kinda wanna hope they do more with his character than just being the buggy. It's not great that Vin Ethanol, the painfully obvious Vin Diesel parody guy, has just as many appearances as Glitch does in Season 3, and by the time he gets in Episode 2 himself, it's near the end where he gets accepted into the Tennyson team. Hey guys, you forgot to give the guy an episode after he joins the team. He's dead in his next appearance.
It was amazing. You need to join the team more often. How can I ever thank you?
Joining the team would be thanks enough. But, I could use some new tires.
Ah, you got it, buddy.
I'm so glad they did this episode 1 season and 3/4 later. I'm so glad Glitch is a useful fucking character. He dies. Also, because I've run out of things to say about him, I swear I've heard the sound effect on Glitch's car. Like, I can't put my finger on it. Does anybody know?
Use this abrasive attitude to protect yourself, but I can see in...
That means Ben is too.
I hope so, but, well, if Ben...
And forgot about... That is odd. Surprised Benjamin is not here. What is that? Benjamin.
Overall, this show doesn't know how to implement concepts that could have been interesting, and when they do, they make it boring. They do nothing with the characters they have, and later in my review, you'll see just how many things I hate and like about this show. Oh, by the way, there's a J.K. Rowling reference in the show. Right, this is when she was a... this was when she was a more respected writer and not... Yep. Oh, voiced by a terrible person as well? How fucking fitting. Wow, Spider-Man really went downhill. He had to turn to a jackalope.
But how could I have eaten it when I don't exist?
Something that was unfortunate to watch for more than 24 hours was the villains, ironically enough. To get it out of the way, I don't really hate any of the redesigns besides Charmcaster, mainly because she's so uninteresting as a goth girl. However, my favorite is definitely Hex, and that's out of the entire franchise. Seriously, I think this is the only redesign in the entire show I think is superior. I think it's just objectively better, and it also makes him resemble his age. But he also has a design resembling his Omniverse design with dreadlocks and a suit. But having white dreadlocks somehow improved the Omniverse design. Sad it was only in one episode. Now onto the negative stuff in the show. They set up a few villains poorly in season 1 and introduced us to them as if we knew who they are. The main contenders being Hex, Frightwig and Animo, and ironically enough, Zombozo is the only returning villain where he's actually set up. Can't say the same about his crew though. Hex, for example, debuted, either in Freaky Gwen Ben or in Brief Career of Lucky Girl. Apparently they're enemies because the show started way after he gained the Omnitrix. To kids they wouldn't care. To me it just seems like a weird decision to add. Especially when every other new villain in the show is always introduced as if Ben just met them just then. Frightwig is debuted into a water park episode where she's shown to be stopped. Like this. It's a part of a free gag system. They never stop using it. And Animo, well, it's just the same thing as Hex. Quite frankly, Animo's actual design doesn't make its way into the show until later in the season.
It really is her, but she can't be serious. You know her, Pearl? Can you tell us who she is?
And speaking of villains, there is a fuck ton of new ones. I think with what they do with the new villains, at least the recurring ones, is that it's the same plot all over again.
Zingo! I'm okay! Didn't feel a taste!
So, when a new villain is introduced, they actually do something new with them. But after? No. Yeah, the powers are new or some small changes, but overall the projection of the story is relatively the same. The Weatherheads cause chaos with their weather powers while bickering that their emotions are turned off. Zingo wants to get out of the cartoon world and is beaten unrealistically.
There's no saving me, Quinn. I'm just a bad dude.
No, Kyle, we're not giving up on you.
I don't know, Quinn. He's a bad dude.
No, Bob. No dude is too bad to save.
Blech! Why so serious? I hope this gets rebooted.
Steen Smythe looks for or protects some old technology as he tries to prove that old technology is better than the modern stuff. Lagrange only races. Ethanol only races. Alright, I know Hex is a classic, but he unfortunately also falls under this pattern. He tries to find a powerful artifact, he or someone will get to it first. It's either taken or breaks and he loses.
Hey, you foul creatures!
And the ones that are one-timers, or the cooler ones barely appear. This sort of thing is alright with villains like Zombozo or Animo, since that's their gimmicks. But at the very least, Zombozo does this in different ways while still using hypnosis one way or another. It's not just using hypnosis in the same way over and over and over again.
I come all the way to France to get away from your meddling, and you still managed to find me!
And sometimes they spice it up, like in one episode he's just a washer, while Animo always has different animals that have different powers. But it's weird they do the future Animo body thing before the future special.
It's the Super Cobra!
I'm the fucking Tupra-Cadupra.
But either way, it's a different experience every time because every motivation is often different. And with one episode, they at least explore why Hex is still alive through the centuries, and it changes up his formula. And don't get me wrong, these sorts of plots could work, but they don't really amount to anything and all feel the same. And since the episodes are 11 minutes long, they don't really fully explore the full capabilities of these artifacts. The book turns him into a snake and bigger, and he can make people swap bodies with a spell. He does this, but it doesn't show the entirety of the power he possesses. He should at least have one of the artifacts that makes him more of a threat, and later through the series he's harder to defeat. It would spice it up and let us show him being on screen is for a reason. They do this better with Charmcaster, who's had her books, amulets destroyed while she uses alternative magic, unlike Hex, who's naturally magical. However, with the use of formulas with each villain, this ultimately leads the characters to not finish any of their stories, even if it's their last appearance. And I need to say this here, I don't think they were setting up more lore for characters way too late. So in this list there are a handful or all of the villains that fall under this. I think my biggest issue with every villain in the show is how they handled the Weatherheads. Their main gimmick is that they all have different environmental abilities matched and...
Well, you're about to get...
Okay, they can have different eye colors or some shit. It's just the eye color and the body shapes are the difference. Honestly, I forgot that one is air and one is water. They don't do a good job at it. At least this one is yellow as in electrocution. I think they're calling concept robotic aliens, but at least change the eye color or have them say their names. Because I honestly have no clue what any of their names are outside being called the Weatherheads. Personally, I think these villains really should have been redeemed and helped Ben out whenever they were around, while accustoming to the new circumstances of having emotion. When they actually help and do good on screen, they're a lot better and give them more depth. And not just one gag characters. I would be laughing if I had the ability to express human emotion. That's probably what they'd say. That's probably what they've already said. And by the time they actually have lore to them, it's in Season 4. Too late for it, really. They basically introduce this new managerial character called Sunny that outranks them, and she comes in way too late. Because, get this, after the second appearance, they never show up again. Where do the Weatherheads come from? I don't know. What's their objective? I don't know. Why was Sunny at it? I don't fucking know. She's been one of the most forgettable characters because no one talks about her. The only thing I've read about is that who built the Weatherheads was not revealed yet. I also cannot find anyone talking about Sunny, and rather the cousin from the Alien Force show. Hi, so fun fact about this video, I was planning to also review the games as a sort of side thing. I couldn't buy Power Trip for some reason, it just wouldn't let me, even during a sale. Not important, but if I find cheap codes, I'll play the games I've heard great things from. Anyway, it's the first game that came out in late 2017, around a few months before the Weatherheads first appeared again in Season 2. There was a final boss villain called Weatherhead Prime, who, unlike the other two bosses, wasn't from the show. Which essentially was just this Weatherhead, but dressed as a mafia boss. Although video games, especially when adapting a film or show, are never really canon, Arriba! According to Duncan Rolu, who is a figurehead for the Ben 10 franchise and a producer for the Reboot, says this character does exist in the Reboot canon. Knowing that now, during the editing phase, it's really a shame just seeing more and more potential being demonstrated and yet nothing comes of it. It reinforces my idea that there must be something behind the scenes back then for these people just to do nothing with these characters. And I feel like I know why. Cartoon Network, why do you insist on giving characters we don't give a fuck about more screen time? To lay it all out, Season 4 had 3 two-parters. None of which should be called so. There was a Tokyo 2-parter that had the Bug Brothers in the first part and the Polar Twins in the second part. They don't share the same story, but they share the location. Cartoon Network. I feel that time could have been better used for characters you, wrote off? Wouldn't it fit? Just when the Weatherheads were finally getting further explored, of course, they do nothing with what they have. Oh, but I'm not done. Far fucking from it. As some of the other classic villains in the show have been altered. They aged down the characters Frightwig and Michael Morningstar. Personally, I think switching the ages works, more so for Michael since it at least makes sense. If you had some 20-year-old hitting on a 10-year-old, you'd... Wait a second. I love that this character never really changes through the shows. He's a manipulator who uses people's batteries. He doesn't care about love, only power. Sucks that this power just got worse looking after Alien Force. Cause it doesn't even matter if he glows gold, he doesn't look it. Omniverse cops that with just his hands. While the Reboot just does this. I think a more golden form with less bold patches would fit. Even as a kid, I never liked how he looked like this. I love watching 3 seasons of a character being the most insufferable piece of shit only to get nothing from it. Billy was fucking pointless in this show. Billy Billions is one of the classic villains who made his return, who's more snobby, childish, and is alone. They spend 3 seasons saying that Billy has only money, no human friends, and no sense of family. And that in the end, if he was shown compassion, he'd be good friends with his nemesis Ben.
What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry? That I did all of this because I didn't have a normal upbringing? That I hide my feelings with money because I'm actually jealous of you and your family? And that all I've ever wanted was to have some true friends who won't just like me for my money?
but after the episode roundtable, he's just gone. Who the fuck decided he needed to leave after the season 3 mid-finale? Don't get me wrong, I hated seeing this shit stain, but when he was written to be nice, it looked promising. Oh yeah, what episode was he? Oh yeah, the Forgetty. What brain-dead executive or writer thought we don't need Billy? Let the fans have this bitchy brat for 3 seasons and do nothing to redeem his character. And better yet, make him forget his experience. For those who don't know what the Forgetty is...
Forgetty!
After each appearance, he lets out this gas that just knocks everyone out, gives them amnesia, so they don't know who he is or what he is, or the experiences they just had. Oh, but he's not completely forgotten. He's in the movie intro. I wish he was the only one, but no. Michael and Charmcaster suffer the exact same fate, and it's never explored why. Charmcaster has her spells broken, a Redesign Roundtable with her amulet destroyed, and that's it. She's never seen again. And Michael's never seen after that Control episode. He's stuck in the book and is never seen again besides this one broadcast. Which really sucks because these 3 characters could have worked. Charmcaster could have learned more about where she comes from, became neutral with Gwen, or began to fucking heal and repent. Billy could have even become more humble and had fun with the Tennyson team, with just a few spots of his greed coming out because it's new to him. And even another episode of Michael manipulating Charmcaster again to show this kind of abuse and love can take form again. But no, let's just bring back Queen Bee. Let's give a 2-part of the Bug Brothers who just steal the Colosseum and then it gets taken over by Queen Bee. Let's bring back Timbuktu, who after some point just becomes a boring villain and no longer tries to fake being a hero. Let's do another Zingo episode. More laser tag episodes but with a new gimmick. Make the random doctor from season 2 a tooth monster. Let's introduce another villain in season 4 who has the exact same formula as any other villain for only 2 episodes. I'm so glad Breaker 19 was such an important character. As much as I love the character design for Lord Decibel, he doesn't make sense. He wants money and does it using sound. How one note again. It's not great when his henchmen are more interesting than him. His debut made sense. He was booed because he overtook the stage of another popular DJ. But then afterwards, people like his music. He legitimately could make a career of DJing, but no. And his appearance with Max vs. Decibel is just the music fight with Mr. Incorporated. I get the villains don't need to be super intricate, but if they're just the same thing over and over again but defeated in different ways, then it gets a bit boring. The only time where his motivations are very different than his usual shit is in the Sonar Train episode, where he converts a train into a hovering super fast train, you know, instead of wanting constant money. You know guys, there is such a thing as redeeming villains or writing them so they change after learning what they're good at. The Fog is such a boring villain as well. Isn't helped by his design either. It just follows Ben and Co and that's it. He's defeated in different ways. He's a 1 episode villain, not 3. He only gets better when its smaller form can take form into the other characters, but outside that, I don't get the point of the Fog. Outside being a cheap design, he chases the characters for no reason, and only stops when they return a piece of it. That suddenly gets there. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And then it just stops chasing the Tennyson family. Okay. Want me to say more? Quite frankly, one of the most boring villains in the show would have to go to Polar and Solar, who I am not exaggerating are the worst.
The bear looks pretty mad now.
They are some of the most one-note characters in the fucking history of Ben 10. And I'm gonna say it here, they are worse than Pax. Yeah, I said it, put your fucking hands up, we're fighting. They're just Bluetooth and Greba, except as they bicker for 11 minutes at a time. And if they weren't at least funny. They hate each other as brothers, they use positive and negative energy to disrupt the planet, and then recycle and repeat for every one of their appearances. Except for one episode where they think their mum deserved first place. Aww. Wow, it almost makes up for them being annoying bitches for 10 minutes in a 2-parter episode. That was the Tokyo 2-parter I was talking about before. That's not even mentioning that they have the most boring villain design in the franchise. Oh wow, it's just the Weatherheads, except they just lose their colours. Their powers are also unnoticeably different as well. If you guys want, just skip their episodes, you're really missing nothing. And it's not like the villains in the show are unlikable in the universe they're portrayed in. Lord Decibel's good at music and people like it. Hex performs magic that everyone likes, even if he doesn't like it, so that's understandable. Steen Smythe, when he's around people that enjoy a different age, people appreciate it. I bet if I looked at that fucking villain wiki list, I'll find a few more that could have had these serialized arcs. They don't need to redeem every villain because it would again become repetitive. But at the same time, either commit to the ones you're setting up or make some allies. Because again, it gets really fucking boring when it's just the same villain with the same formula as last time. In other words, the villains in this show get really boring after their first debut. And even the ones who have different motivations are characters I really could not give a fuck about. The reboot had a few good and new villains, but the rest just had me sighing anytime I saw their name in the description. Or sighing at Cartoon Network when I was starting to get interested where they'd take their character. Also, you may have noticed I never brought up Kevin. Well, there's... Going into Season 3, I wasn't expecting Kevin. I knew he'd show up just to be a markable product, but there's a problem with him that extends further than just his powers and similarities with Ben.
Okay, so you're like Ben, but edgy. Got it.
Now, before I go over the problem with Kevin, I should start off with how he is in this show. Now, the idea of Kevin 11 getting an Omnitrix is... and was clearly made to sell more toys of cooler, more darker versions of Ben's aliens. Mainly the ones he's lost. The thing about Ben, Gwen, and Kevin in the original shows is that they were all infinitely different. Ben had aliens, Gwen had magic, and Kevin could absorb surfaces and energy. This let them be powerful in their own ways and still made the fights between Kevin and Ben feel like an even match. But with the Omnitrix, it just feels so cheap, and yet so much more expensive. Because basically how he got the Omnitrix was he got it in a dream from Bilgax and built it in a garage. Run that by me again? Not only is his idea badly executed, it doesn't even make sense, but that the idea is so unoriginal because it's already been done before. In Omniverse, there was something called the Nematrix. Why I much prefer that idea is because it wasn't a direct Omnitrix. But with the Nematrix, when applied onto the body directly, it would be too much for the wielder alone, which is why Scourge was added. But an animal under someone's control was a much better idea. These alien forms weren't the same alien Ben has, but rather they're predators. Adding another piece of lore that there are predators that evolve to kill the respective aliens, and giving Ben a bigger challenge because how the fuck can you beat an alien evolve to kill you? Also, I haven't even brought up Albedo yet because that's a cheap shot and it's just a Red Eyes version of Ben. But at the very least, Kevin is a better Albedo. But at least Albedo wasn't in almost every fucking episode. Something I'll get to. And I found that Kevin having an Omnitrix was a scrapped idea during the classic series. But I think that scrapped idea was for the better. I also think this is the best time to go over the fucking voice acting for the aliens. There is no other time for this. Most of these are just the equivalent of celebrity voice actors like Chris Pratt as Garfield and Mario. Except some give off great performances. Roger Craig Smith as Diamond Head, Josh Keaton as Accelerate. But at the same time, a lot of these voices are just so human. Like, I love Josh Keaton, but nothing beats the gruffness of Accelerate's voice that made him sound so inhuman.
It's like you got this party started without me. Hey, what's that? Huh, no one. But whoa, classy dicks!
And it's the same with just about any other alien on this list. The only characters who don't sound human is Forearms, Slapback's acting and robotic filter, Upgrade, Grey Matter, Overflow, Cannonbolt, and that's about it. What I like about the other voices is how some have these alienated speech patterns, or ways they talk that aren't generally heard of. Atomic's voice box sounds like it's swirling around his body.
Try a little fusion cuisine.
Brainstorm sounds like a smartass.
I posit that a simple application of physics and angular mechanics should provide a more than adequate solution.
Spider Monkey has a pitched up voice and does these weird monkey noises.
Leave it on. It's supposed to be good for the complexion.
The other half were just their voices, and it's so uninteresting when they're humanoid, sound humanoid, and were designed to just be toys.
Ah! My foot! My beautiful foot! Funny Says what? Wildvine can regrow limbs? Cool sauce.
But I'm bringing out the voices here because they don't do that for Kevin. It's just Greg Kipes doing little to no variation in the voice for each alien.
Whoa. Easy there, Tiger. I give up. Use a little fuel myself. But first I could use a change. Incoming! I think I'll call him... Bash Mouth! Or maybe I can make this quick.
Don't get me wrong, the guy's talented, and the effort he puts in is great. It's just hiring different voice actors for these aliens would have been so much better. Some of the voice actors in this show had the guy who voiced Duncan McDougal from Cats vs. Dogs 2, Jeff Bennett, and motherfucking Keith David as what I call knockoff Fazbear. Too bad he appears once.
I was once a majestic beast till I was cursed by some bad voodoo.
You know who else? Now I know you'll say this is such a small complaint, but I'll play a few clips of the different alien voices. I'll list the shows they're from, but try to guess the alien.
Another alien? Okay, so let's see what you could do.
Give him a break. He's 2,000 years old and he's been fighting ninjas all day. Of course he's tired.
Means switch places. Get over here and disable the force field for me. I'll deal with those guys.
Take out Steam Smythe, then take out his Robo Piranhas. Eyes on the horizon.
Oh man, can't this thing ever get it right? Are the little plumber's helpers spying on me? Stay out of this.
Oh, come on! Give it a rest!
Because you're so sorry. Oh, you are sorry. Apology accepted.
But come on, you made 12 additional... Oh, wait. I'm about to talk about that. Adding a rival is good and all, but if your rival is half the time helping you, then he's not really a rival. In the episodes where he's dangerous, yeah, he's a rival. Even in the end of Classic, he was still a villain to Ben. And it's fine to have this character have a character arc within the show. There was never a high chance that more content would be on the way, but it gets boring when... well, because then comes the actual problem with Kevin, or at least to me. Now, the reason Season 3 was so big was because he had so many fucking episodes. He has a little under half the season's runtime dedicated to him one way or another. Either him as the star villain, or he's fighting against or with Ben with another villain. However, how did this even happen? Well, I'll tell you. The finale is in the middle of the season. What? Yeah, so apparently if you watch Season 3, Cartoon Network just decided that, hey, why not put the finale in the middle? Which would be fine, right? If the villains were locked up in jail like they always are, except they're trapped in time. And don't acknowledge what the fuck happened to them. Because the episodes are out of order. Also, side note, they don't actually ever bring up how they got back into the present time. Kevin's there, Forever Knight's there, and that's it. And get this, a spin-off would have explained how they got there. How they got back. But it gets even better. Forever Knight is defeated and taken to Phil. And that's the last we see of him. However, there's an episode where he's a shape-shifting creature using alien technology. Which gets scrapped? Cartoon Network, you guys had 3 two-parters in your 4th fucking season. They could have just been separate episodes. Why bother bringing back Forever Knight if you were going to do... I don't know who was responsible, but Roundtable, its finale, had a lead-up episode broadcast after it came out. Oh, but after... it doesn't matter. The season had so many episodes because they made 12 additional episodes just for Kevin. This isn't a conspiracy. Each season got around 40 episodes except for Season 4. But Season 3 got 12 additional episodes. And after would be the lead-in finale. It's just...
And Bumblebee!
And Bumblebee! And Bumblebee!
To put this in perspective for just Kevin's season 3 appearances alone, it was around 22-23 appearances. The top 3 villains who made the most appearances every season was Steen Smythe and Zombozo with 14, Vilgax with 13, and then Hex with 12. And even if I included all their other appearances and cameos or photos or flashbacks, it wouldn't even hit the 20 mark. And if you cut out 12 of those after finale episodes, Kevin would still be in the average range of villain appearances. And after writing all that, all the episodes of Kevin, the overuse of him, what happens in the end? He disappears. What? If he was in so many episodes, what was the point? Like, I get if they just get another series, but they didn't. But why do you spend 2 seasons and a film just egging to the audience that the idea of Kevin being good, just to make him disappear? He had an entire fucking character change to learn to do things good. He wouldn't have fully changed, but really? Disappearing. At least he's in one of the 3 specials that act as season 5. It's not like he's in Ben 10,010, but is still basically a villain who never joined the Ben 10 team. That's up next. And this is a canon timeline, by the way. They don't erase anything. Kevin was pointless. Just straight up. Because I wasn't initially excited to see Kevin, but if they were going to do the team join-up thing after spending so many episodes on him, then that would have been fine. That would have been great. But they don't. They leave Kevin to be this loner, or if they don't, as it's implied, they suck at trying to make him a team again, because Kevin is never mentioned or seen again after Ben goes in time. And I mean that in all 3 specials. And sorry if I look like the Lily Orchard of the Ben 10 reboot. But for a show trying to fix the continuity mistakes the previous shows made, they couldn't even stick to their own continuity. As this is the last thing I'll say, but in the film, the intro has Kevin in the rust bucket, implying that they were planning to add him to the team, as through the film he was reforming to be a hero. But no, I could have overlooked all those problems because the outcomes of previous episodes clearly were setting up he came from an abusive home, he has a good heart, and that he was acting out. So if you want a TLDR reason, that's what it is.
I'm still proud of you, kiddo.
Hey, I already told you I'm not... Huh? Proud? Of me?
Now to state the core for the record, I was not planning on adding this. I was hoping that the specials would be bonus content after season 4. And it is, except everything about them is bad. To start it off, Ben 10,010 is basically just the characters going, well, the future has changed, hasn't it? With villains teaming up to save the world, Gwen is president, Grandpa Max is dead, and Ben, he's a fat, washed up hero. When I first saw his design, I just went, why? Why go in that direction for Ben 10,000? One of the most objectively cool parts about future Ben episodes. Except for Alien Force. What were they on? And now? I guess fits the story. Also, I can only hear Soldier 76 with Ben 10,000's voice. You will not be able to unhear it.
Thanks for reminding me who I used to be.
Thankfully, they didn't make the aliens fat, or that would have just been overkill. But they don't exactly design their own alien versions of Ben 10,000, which was a bit disappointing. But the thing about him is that they give him no time to show where he fucked up. They just say he runs after sending the beacon that brought the surge there. Which they can control. Hold on. Did they basically just do season 2's finale all over again? This is literally just the Viltrum army all over again. Because I never cared for his character arc in the end. Besides the Kevin thing, which still pisses me off that they decided to do that. Limiting him just to a dinosaur design. Saying his anti-tricks is time-locked. Oh, and Surge are boring as fuck, and they never have any creative designs when morphed together. I'd literally just skip this one. This is probably the better one out of the 3. and it's not really a high bar. On one hand, it's great to see Generator Rex in a decade. On the other, for fuck's sake, at least have continuity or make it make fucking sense. For starters, I am glad this special remembered, oh yeah, we kinda have to get the audience to connect to the character by explaining the backstory, even if the lore is a bit wrong.
I kinda have a hard time remembering stuff.
Also, side note, I had no clue that Daryl Sabara was not just Heat Blaster's voice actor, but Rex's as well.
The biker never loses!
That was my reaction when I found out Silco was Jason Spizak, who was Razor. I didn't know about this for 3 years. I rewatched it the same week Season 2 Act 2 came out as well. Then there's the issues of world building. Apparently Evas in the world exist, not on a parallel Earth. Apparently Evas in this world exist, not on a parallel Earth but on the same planet Ben is on. And as someone who has watched every episode, that has never once been the case in 5 years. Oh, but what if there was a monster? Every villain in this show is a human with science tech or a wizard.
Androids, aliens, and wizards.
I didn't bring that up last time, but yeah, the reason Ben and Rex aren't on the same planet is because their worlds are so different. The reason they couldn't be in the same world is because of the nanite event, the worst man-made event possible on the planet. These nanites that Rex can control can also turn people into monsters, freaks that can happen at any moment. This led to a plethora of characters in the show that developed superhuman abilities, including the main character Rex. But here? Oh yeah, Evas have always been here, even if they were secretly being taken away, not everyone's had a chance of becoming an Evo, unlike before. And there's the fact that entire locations are full of Evos. Exhibit A, the bug jar. Evos so evolved they were closed off from civilization. Exhibit B, the rest of the fucking world. Exhibit B, the rest of the fucking world. They literally have an episode about Evo trafficking rings.
My technology not only amps up their abilities, but for an extra charge will modify their behavior to suit your needs.
This shit is not the same world. But if I'm not looking at it from a lore point of view, how is the special itself? Meh. After the nanites affect Ben's Omnitrix, it turns people into his aliens, and Hex controls them with, wow, they chose an awful colour for Heat Blast. Rex slowly grows more confident and acts as a hero. 6 gives Rex the chance to do his shit his way, as would the original 6. Ben realizes he wants his family to fight with him, and remember that detail for later. And that it's really drawn out, and of course, Hex is the main villain. But hey, at least his motivations changed at least. World domination's a bit different than collecting another artifact. And to bring back the original voice actors was pretty great, and that was really the only plus. Though it's kinda disappointing Wally Kurth didn't return, since no hate to Vic Chow, but he couldn't replicate that monotone voice that was signature to 6. But what it missed most was more of its original scope of combining both shows. Holiday isn't here, Bobo was not at the Nanite event, much less is he supposed to be looking as young as he is? And while 6 is restrictive, he's the one that pushed Rex to become a part of Providence and the future of healing. In this reboot, they were nabbed at the Nanite event lab, put in cells, and forced to run. That's not even mentioning, like, there's no mention or brief hints that there's more people behind the event. Season 1, Episode 19, explains all the backstory and how friendships and relationships were formed. But things like his powers, the true story behind the event, are built up through the series. And the original crossover acted itself out with more lore concerning the Alpha Nanite. And I know this one's a nitpicky one, but Generator Rex, and especially his powers, had this iconic sound design they just didn't even attempt to remake.
Okay, that's weak. Only in Spanish. But I like it. Please work.
What?
Down! One friend coming up!
What it lacked was a fundamental level of understanding for both worlds. it gave the enemy a new level of difficulty because of what the power scale was. And the characters teaming up in amazing ways was what made that episode. The villain was just Hex. Ben 10 Alien Extinction is quite possibly one of the worst things I've watched. Imagine having the perfect setup for a villain, an Alien X character with infinite power, and manage to butcher it. I don't think it's an understatement when I say that this Alien X was just babied. Like, come on. The idea of an Alien X being a villain is so massive because in the continuity, he is the most powerful being in the universe. Like, it rivals the idea of an evil Chronosapien, one based around controlling and manipulating time. Not even the time-traveling Professor Paradox can go near these beings. He's literally not allowed to. And it's something that's never been done before. For Ben 10 fans, they know that Alien X is just an infinite source of power, because let me tell you, this being, with a single thought, can destroy universes and reconstruct them from scratch. With Omniverse utilising Alien X a little better with the few times he was on screen. Whether it was with a fight against an Alien X Celestial Sapien Gladiator, rebuilding the universe and nobody knowing, and when he forces the Rooters to fight each other. Stop! But in Extinction, he is equipped with multiple Omnitrixes to boost his power? No. That's to make it so no Ben gets to have a life. That's it. However, but he's... hold on. Easily defeated by a few Bens and Gwens? FYI, the co-creator said that the character would be too powerful in the stories they're telling. And less than a year later, this shows up on the broadcast. How the fuck is this powerful when he's easily stopped? In order to best Alien X, you need an Alien X. Currently, there are 3 Bens who can access them, and 1 who has full control over it.
What's Benno doing up there? Sounds like a war zone.
Ben has control of Alien X.
And if they had the function, oh well, who knows, maybe we could have had a classic version of Alien X. Now I want to say this, I was definitely underselling the power that Evil X possesses. Like, this fucker is a menace. Up till the disappointing ending, he was a clear threat that was immune to every attack, that could telekinetically grab anything around him, teleport, evade every attack. You could use the excuse that Ben X doesn't have control over this form, but his family has been dead for years, and he's taken many Omnitrixes, so I think it's safe to assume he's been training for a solid decade. But overwhelming and experienced fighter would work, just not Alien X, who shouldn't have been affected in the first place. I get at some point he probably gave up, though I have to say this, it's weird they have this one line where he just says "we" as Alien X, but it's never elaborated on.
Should I care?
You should. We are infinite. Impressive. Now it is our turn.
Our?
If I had to guess, Vilgax's evil had seeped in during his destruction, but it's too late to ask now. And if you thought that was it, no. Because here's the other stuff. Ben in the start says he doesn't want help from his family because he doesn't get to show off what his aliens can really do. And that makes no sense, because he already learnt that in Ben Gen 10. The special that aired a day before Extinction, by the way.
I don't want this trip to end. I know when things change, we're supposed to learn from it. But does that mean I gotta learn to do all this hero stuff without you? I don't think I want to go it alone.
So what? You don't want to be a hero anymore? Or you don't want to do it with us?
Awkward.
Was this written before or after these 2 specials? Oh, and fun fact about the Bens and Gwens, did you only want to see one alien from each of them? Good, because only Alien Force Ben is the only one who switches to more than just one alien. He uses 2. Hey, but at least the specials are more faithful to the original design than Omniverse was. Then again, at least Omniverse had more aliens than cheapening out. Overall, the specials did nothing really for anything. It felt so trivial to watch for no reason, offering no new aliens, not changing the characters in meaningful ways, or even using the new function from the film. It felt like such a waste of time. If you guys want to watch them, then I mean, I can't stop you, but they're outside the canon, even though they established it as after season 4. A massive problem in this show I could not get over is how episodic it is while trying to convert emotional scenes and serialized stories to near the end. When it comes to episodic shows that turn serialized, it's more acceptable because most of the time they hone in on the series side of the story, while previously they had episodic adventures with maybe just some hints of lore, but for the Ben 10 reboot, they don't do that. After season 1, the show doesn't become more serialized even though the finale set it up that way. Same with season 2. This wouldn't be an issue if what they set up wasn't needing to be serialized. Let's use the first 2 seasons as examples for the different tone the reboot sets up. Unlike with the original Vilgax being set up from the get-go, throughout season 1 of the original show, Vilgax sent people and drones to do his bidding. However, he's never the main threat because he's near killed during his attack for the Omnitrix in the beginning, and makes his way back in season 1's finale, for the Ben vs Vilgax fight. But in Reboot season 1, there's no hint of Vilgax's existence. Much less do they ever explain why half his power is in the Omnitrix. Oh, no, yeah they do. In the fucking movie almost 3 years later. Wow. Thanks guys. Wow, I'm so glad that plot point took this long to be explained to the audience while Shockrock got into the Omnitrix was explained in the season 2 finale, but okay. I will at least give credit to the show is that they never shy away that Vilgax knows way too much about the Omnitrix than he should. So the reveal he worked with Azimuth makes sense. But they reveal Vilgax as someone who's been at half his power this entire time, when he's never been hinted to have existed until Gax appeared during the 4-part finale. They have plenty of time, but no, we had to watch 36 episodes of Ben dicking around in episodic adventures, only for the show to go, ha, here's a random alien that's one half of Vilgax, ooh, oh, and 3 bounty hunters, and a guy that can help the watch. I'm sorry, what? It's not like the serialized story isn't good. I actually much prefer this, and it seems others did as well. It had a new alien, and that's it. None of these guys were in the show prior. And it's because these episodic adventures move at breakneck paces half the time, because they're 11 minutes each. Some, like the Animo Farm episode, should have been lengthier, because the animals agree way too early, and not setting up anything earlier past that. You know, like setting up Animo. Again, fans will know this character, but kids watching it won't. But again, they set up Zombozo. In Freaky Gwen Ben, Gwen uses one alien for not even a minute before, realizing she's way over her head. Yeah, that feels realistic. The Charmcaster episode I talked about like 40 minutes ago had a lot of problems. And all of this, it's the same issue with the Shockrock stuff. They hint that he's a powerful character and we should be weary of it. But Vilgax, when he's explaining it to Ben, is always so vague to a character he tries to trick and fight frequently.
Do not activate that alien! It will tear you apart, and the rest of the world along with it!
Yeah, I wonder why he didn't trust you in that moment without any proof. The reveal of the whole Fulminized stuff, way too late, because it's an episodic story.
Fake laugh, hiding real pain.
Now, the original shows always had episodic adventures, or built up smaller plots from other episodes before telling a more serious story, or using what they set up. But the characters were set up in a meaningful way, such as the Omniverse. We knew who Ateo was, we knew about Kaiba and what he's capable of, and with Maltruan we learned about him in Season 7 before becoming infinitely more important in Season 8. They still had things that built up upon the story, and it's not just using the characters to just further their own plans. Vilgax knows they were coming, and yet he takes this long to tell Ben not to use Shockrock, but he does by trying to trick him. Yeah, that'll work. By the way he tricks Ben is through the weather patterns, and who's the only character who controls the weather? If you had guessed the person was behind it, I don't know why you would. Because I'm so glad the Weatherheads were introduced last minute in the second parter.
In the arms of the angel.
Fly away.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, these guys. They haven't been seen for like a full season. Wow, such a plot twist. Why are they focused on more after they're revealed? How does that make sense? Oh right, because it's episodic. It's something I never liked about the show halfway through. What should have been more important stories, while they could have been putting more focus into what people actually actually want to see more of. Where before I watched the final 2 seasons, the specials and film, I learnt that he has 2 cameos. I'm sorry, you create one of the most hardest villain designs since Maltruant, introducing an entirely new race of alien, and you do nothing with the fucking villain? Excuse me? Why the fuck do you introduce a banger design, an entire race that uses the Omnitrix as a portal, but don't use him? He's purple as well. Purple lighting as well. Feels like such wasted potential because when they do it right, some newer villains work better. Like, have an episode where Ben is accidentally teleported to their planet. Do something with them. I refuse to believe this world-conquering species gives up after one try. I've had 3 shows of Vilgax doing that exact fucking thing. Oh, but let's just bring back the Bug Brothers. Lagrange is just the same as he always is. Zombozo does a hypnotic campaign. Okay episodes, but they could have been opted to actually set up the High Override and the Fulminite plotline. And not, hey, he's here. He's so pathetic because the lore dump is all in the finale. Again, and it's not the only one.
Hey, take it easy with the joystick. Very mature.
The roundtable finale, as I mentioned in the Kevin segment, was in the middle. Well, even in all those episodes, none of it alludes to what Forever Knight is doing. He's building a team with a set of skills to build a time machine.
Time machine. A time machine? A time machine. Time machine. A time... What? Who told?
With the first part alluding to Grandpa Max and Phil having done something with this satellite. But here's the thing. They say this is the first bit of alien communication, but we don't get to hear what it was. Oh right, it must have been for the Omnitrix or something, I think. Or that him and Phil were trying to locate Forever Knight. Again, what's the point? What I do like with Season 3 at least is they meaningfully set up Forever Knight as a powerful and calculating force of nature. But when he was training Kevin, I honestly forgot about that. It's such an uninteresting plot point that I don't think really amounts to anything. It honestly feels either really lazy or really restrictive for what the writers or creator could do. These are just a collection of notes that would not work for this video and genuinely just things that were too short to be in their own categories, but it's things I like, things I hate, things I wish were changed, etc. There's an episode in Season 3 where the Tennysons have a family reunion. Alright, it's fine they don't add Ben or Gwen's parents, I couldn't care less, but come on, at least add something interesting to them.
I thought those were destroyed.
They do nothing but act as the lifeline of them getting kicked out from the reunion. It's revealed in the show multiple Tennysons have alien descendants. And in Classic, Lenopans show up apparently, which is more than just Lucy. So, why not spice up the Ben 10 family? It would have been so cool to see the family help out Ben against the bugs, with Kevin getting to join in on a family moment. Something they've been setting up. Which would have been cool to see because, really, this episode could take place anywhere and the family would have no involvement. But no, boring human relative after human relative. But no, hey, let's just give the Bug Brothers another episode.
What is...
Hey, at least they show the helmet that swapped bodies. Weirdly enough, the backgrounds and zoom shots to show things are going faster are actually really well designed. Like, the backgrounds are easily the best aesthetic in this show. The colors are vibrant and diverse, and I love this use of this chalky look to it. It's clearly where the budget went into, but when the show tries, they can have some really creative episodes. In Season 4, it's really when they get better at this. I like the trippy episode with hypnotism, with different art styles, incredible animation and stylization, or the episode where it's entirely from the point of view of Ben, though they don't fully commit to it, and sometimes it can look really clunky.
Just an emo jerk that is jealous of how awesome I am. And you smell like dirty old socks! And sit.
Tales of the Omniverse has a few different styles, but the episode itself is pretty shit. Cause it's just bickering over what the story is for Gwen, with Max having the better story, with Ben still bickering.
Milk, milk,
Milk. Milk. Milk.
And of course, Kevin is the villain of all of them. I've never seen Dragon Ball, but that's a reference.
See? You see? Oh, you don't see it? He moves! Right there! Wait! Right there! Coincidence? I think not!
But holy shit, why? Why Donut Lips? You designed a black, non-background character before. Why does the monster form look better? I think Zingo takes most of the animation budget for his episodes, and he's voiced by Tom Kenny. Oh, I also like the Zingo pixel art they did. They do it much better than Sonic Prime. God, the Null Void with the color scheme could be cool, but it's more of an eyesore than anything. They improve on it in the film, but it looks so non-threatening as a concept. I was thinking the Hotel episode was a Scooby-Doo reference. Seriously, Hotel, a supernatural thing, siblings obviously being the ones responsible. Hey, at least they're referencing Mystery Incorporated, and you can't tell me it isn't. The show can either be subtle with its use of technology, or it can be painfully bad. Such as an entire episode about live streaming Kevin and Ben and competing in a food contest, or doing an internet trend thing.
Get your approval by not trying to get approval from other people, Grandpa?
That doesn't make a lot of sense, Mr. Tennyson.
Or the first person episode of Ben being distracted with a game for 11 minutes. I mean, if he's bored with Steen Smythe, that must be telling. The flute episode was actually so poorly constructed. Thankfully, it's just another Hex getting power episode. Yay! The long lost flute was in the only building in plain sight. Okay, fine. Hold on, a letter detailing the marriage of the two names that are fighting? Are you fucking kidding me? Also, the Rust Buck is just a basic colored up car. It was just a kiddie version because that doesn't match the name. And besides that, yeah, that's it. So in the end, what did I think about Ben 10 2016? It was okay. This show had a rough start with how basic their introductions were to characters and the franchise as a whole. And honestly, I can never now say the show was bad, just unfinished. Regardless if the show did end up getting more episodes or an entirely new show, they still put off interesting bits of lore way too late. Or wrote out characters entirely. The High Override, Billy, Charmcaster, Michael, Sunny and the Weatherheads, Vilgax being missing for 2 entire seasons, Kevin's arc in the film being useless, Forever Knight never getting another episode, and probably more if I looked into it. Honestly, I think the show picked up in season 2 with its more story approach and having a better reason to get the Omnitrix upgrades. Afterwards, it just becomes so forced, because it's just the characters in mech suits and not these cool combo of upgrades to their existing powers. But it had a shit villain set up in season 2 and derailed the characters and screen time delegation in season 3. But at least they actually set up the villain Forever Knight. I can't say the same for his plan. And again, I call this show unfinished because it's treated like classic, where I think Alien Force was in production before the first show ended. But this show 3 years later has no new content and makes the show feel unfinished in retrospect. Even when they had the chance to do more with what they wrote, they wasted it. Or Cartoon Network did. Again, I don't know who was really in charge of this show, so while I have a better appreciation for the reboot than I once had, I still don't like it. Out of all 4 shows that I can recall, it's still the very weakest. My opinions may change, but I'd have to watch all the shows, and that is not happening for a while. I can't imagine myself going back to watch the reboot for anything. Or maybe except the High Override. It's just a show you watch once and try to forget. But I won't be for one simple reason. Because I remember half the details from the 9 Realms, and I reviewed that show like over a year ago. Anyways, Spirit out.